you were gonna get, I used to do migration counts in Harriman, in Bear Mountain Park, and in a fire tower. And the hawks and falcons would go below you. It's exhilarating, it's incredible for students to study migration and nature. I haven't, I've talked to Audubon about whether or not they would consider getting counters. They're already short counters in Franklin, so I haven't talked to them. I don't know if they're interested, but I know a lot of the people who do the counting who are interested in Bramley Mountain to use as another migration counting spot. The other thing is, if you're not aware that there's a fire tower challenge in New York State, that people run around like me who do lists all the time, checking off things on lists. And you can go to fire towers, and if you visit all of them, you get some patch or something. But this would be a great draw. I mean, Bramley's already, I think, probably the biggest draw of a trail in Delhi. I mean, the other trail is really nice. Why people love Bramley more, I don't know, but they do. So that's another thing. By having a fire tower, that gets printed on every fire tower brochure, although I don't think we're officially in the Catskills, but never mind. But still, that would be another draw. So those two things are well known to people who do a lot in nature and do a lot of hiking and nature studying. Be great for the school too. Thank you.
Just briefly,
One
Mark.
last comment, Rick.
Just briefly. This is a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next year. It's going to take years and years to do. All we're asking is the ability to move ahead with the next process. If there's anything down the line that can derail this, we don't know what that derailment is. It may come, it may not. All we're asking for is to put together a memorandum of understanding between the various parties to get this thing rolling. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming to talk about it. It's nice to see the participation.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, next up, replacement truck. You wanna give us the details on this, Billy?
Okay, looks like, might as well leave it as our witness.
Okay, so referring to what we found to replace our damaged truck, right, that's what's going on now. Okay. We found a 2005 Town Mtg all-wheel drive, identical to the one that we had lost. Except in better condition, like rebuilt motor in it, new clutch. Everything will be transferable from that truck that was lost to the cabin chassis that we have purchased. I don't know if you need more information on that, or
What's the
questions
price
on
on
it.
it? What's the price on it?
53,000, 53,850, I think.
Have they given you a time frame yet, when they'll have it ready to deliver?
Still haven't heard yet. I would imagine we're probably still gonna be a couple weeks out. But that'll just about be the total setup price for it, because we have all the equipment that we're gonna.
We've already bought back the parts.
Yeah, so we're gonna build in-house.
I know I've talked to Billy and I've talked to Al, and we kinda figured if we can get something that is gonna be that easy to get ready,
Yeah.
time's kind of the essence, and we haven't had any luck buying another truck.
No.
So,
Well, and the other good news is it falls well within what we were given for insurance out
Yeah.
there,
Right.
so.
You know how long it'll take over here once it gets here?
depends on snow, right?
Depends on snow and any other breakdowns that we have, because we're gonna just do it, like I said, in-house, so. I'm sure it's gonna be over a month if we have steady time to work on it, but hopefully it doesn't go too much longer than that. 2 days out plowing, we've already had some breakdowns, so we'll see how it goes.
somebody wanna make the motion that we authorize the highway department to go ahead and purchase this, what is it, 2005
2005 Oshkosh.
Oshkosh?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, next old business, the franchise agreement with, Charter Communications.
Yeah, I talked to, this has gone on longer than I anticipated, but I had an email from them today, because I told them today was the day we were gonna meet, and our contact's name is Kevin Egan, and he said there will be additional costs if we wanted to add this, even if it's just a recorded content, you know, to go on their, public access channel. So what we're talking about here for people in the audience is Charter Communications, which is also Spectrum. They are trying to get the franchise agreement signed with the town. They have about 200 people who are outside of the village and in the town. We want to provide public access coverage of our recorded meetings to those people. Charter said it will cost money. They said the money that it would cost is related to the equipment upgrades that we would have to make in our own building here. I told them we already have cameras and mics, and they said, no, there's more than just that. And they would provide us a grant to upgrade, but then they would pass the cost of that grant on to the 200 people who were watching the channel. So, so I told them that I would relay that information to the town. I told them I found that very confusing. I don't understand why it costs money that we do it with DTC, but that was what they said.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Have you contacted the Public Service Commission cable advisor? New York State, whatever the name is that runs they have an advisor for municipalities
Okay.
who negotiates, who will aid municipalities in negotiating Public Service Commission. They will aid municipalities in negotiating because we as a town have very little power in negotiating, but since they're New York State, they have a lot of power in
Yeah.
negotiating with them, although the feds still have got it, in the old days, when I was young and first negotiating these stupid things, they couldn't raise rates in the town or in the village without first coming to the town or the village board and asking if they could increase the rates.
So
The feds came in, but now, so there used to be a New York State Cable Commission as well, which regulated all cable companies in New York State. That then got folded into the Public Service Commission. If you go online, under the psc.ny.gov or whatever it is, there's a link there. You can contact, there's a woman who runs the division who's very helpful. Just call her and tell her what your issues are, and she will tell you what other municipalities have done, what has been negotiated with other entities, and again, very often the Spectrum folks will say, no, that can't be done, and then PSC calls them and says, well, you know, you did it here, and 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 it's no guarantee, but it puts know that the state is looking at them. It can be very helpful.
yeah, I like that idea. Thank you. I'll do that.
And again, right now, how long has the current contract been out of?
More than a year. Right?
Yeah, just say,
About a year.
that's incredibly typical,
Yeah.
and they just sort of drag it out, and, so it's not like you're losing anything. And my understanding, in my discussion with the supervisor, there hasn't been you haven't asked for an increase in the tax or anything like that. So I think getting the Public Service Commission involved is a really good way to get someone else inquiring, and you may find them much more flexible at that point. Especially for something like this, you're not doing it so somebody can put, kiddie videos on the public access channel, but in order, they have an obligation to provide coverage of local government activities, and if they're not doing that, if they're charging extra to do that, I think that will be looked on very dimly by the Public Service Commission.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm imagining he's gonna say, no, we offered a grant to for them to do.
Right, and then you can say, yes, we're there, they're gonna charge to the 200 people who are outside the village, even though it's the town government that is being videoed.
Yeah,
So,
thank you, I'll do that.
and run bumps just being a call.
Can you put them on the website?
We've talked about it and we hope to do that, yes.
Okay, so we'll hold on to that till we get,
Yeah, I'll contact the PSC.
okay. All hazard mitigation plan. Looks like Sean drew the short straw tonight.
Short straw.
So which
Hi.
of the other
Okay.
8 areas aren't getting a
This
rep
is,
tonight?
real simple. We sent this packet out, I don't know if you guys got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Rita's copy.
Yes. So, the memo, if you read it,
Could you give one to our attorney?
is pretty self-explanatory. Just looking for a resolution to adopt the annex for the town. Each town and village in the county has to do it. And the reason is to remain compliant with FEMA.
And Andy was saying you're doing some more.
Yeah, as I said,
upgrades
as explained in the
next year or
memo,
two, yeah.
Delaware County went through this process and adopted the plan in 2013. Since that time, our plan has been selected as one to use as a template. So with SUNY Albany and Delaware County and FEMA and maybe some state people too, they're all working together to take our plan, go through the entire update process, and at the same time create that template to be used for all the counties. So that's impressive and encouraging.
Tanglewood Lake Dam did make it into this
And I understand there was some discussion here about that, and I think my understanding is that it's identified in the annex as a environment.
Yep.
And again, the county will be going through, and all the municipalities, will be going through this process in the next 6 to 24 months.
Okay.
So these, while there are some updates in them, they're not a whole lot, but they need to be adopted before the end of the year to be compliant with FEMA and eligible for.
I think we can adopt a resolution next meeting, give everybody a chance to read through the paperwork, see if they have any questions. Does that sound agreeable?
Yeah, if we can.
So if we pass this in December, we're good, right?
Yeah, it just needs to happen by the end of the calendar year.
Yeah.
And so if anyone has any questions, you feel free to contact me, planning department, in the meantime.
Okay. Anybody
I
have any
guess let me know if
questions?
you need me to come back next month.
I will just keep.
Yeah, you should just
back.
plan on it.
We like to keep the
Great.
chairs warm, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Okay, any other old business? New business. The 2019 budget. We've all heard the comments from the floor earlier in the public hearing. Does anybody want to change anything?
I'll make a motion to adopt the budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The next one we'll table till next meeting there, the adoption of the hazard mitigation plan. Approval of paying bills for the pool.
Make motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Al, second by Janet, all in favor?
Aye.
Joe Gifford and Jim Corcoran need some assessors training, we need to get them authorized to go to training.
Make a motion to send them to training.
I'll second.
Got it in stereo now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. other new business?
Did we receive any, we sent that application to O'Connor Foundation, but I didn't see anything in the mail. They confirmed they received it, but I didn't.
I briefly saw Don Bishop today, he was just asking me a little bit about it, he didn't indicate one way or the other
Oh,
whether it was
okay.
gonna be a yes or no, but he just,
I was under the impression they were gonna have decided by this point, that's why I'm asking.
not that I'm aware of. But he did ask me about it when I ran into him today, so
Okay.
I think he knows what we were looking to do. And hopefully we'll hear something soon.
Thanks.
Committee reports, highway machinery. Darren's breaking equipment again.
Mother Nature's breaking equipment. I think the only thing in addition to my written report there is, we have our old 8B belt loader that sits down to our lower lot, Sherwood lot. It's no good for us. It costs more to fix it than it does really to rent one. Also, the parts for it are obsolete. Yeah, they don't make them anymore. So the only option is a used machine for that. That still doesn't fit into our purpose, but the town of Courtright does have one that they're still using, still operating. A little bit newer than ours. Ours is a 1981 machine. So we have the parts machine that they need. They have a snow plow, a front plow, 11-foot plow.
I was hoping they had a four-wheel drive tandem.
I was hoping they'd have the rest of it that goes on the plow, but they don't.
Okay.
But that's a piece of equipment that we do need. Just in speaking with them, we were looking at a trade for that with an agreement to use whatever it may be, our former machine or their current machine, once they rebuild it and put it into one operating machine, to use it as we would need it when they aren't using it. So to trade our belt loader for a plow that we need.
And then use of their.
Yep, use of that, yep, use of their belt loader when they're not using it if we would need it.
Do you think that one belt loader will sufficiently serve 2 towns?
We still plan on renting one, that we have budgeted in that anyway. We're gonna rent that one for a month. The one we rent, obviously puts those machines to shame. It's a brand new machine, like a 2016 machine. So the power and speed to them are double compared to what those machines were back then. The machine from Courtright, when they're not using it, would be whether we would need to go over our month instead of renting that machine again for a month, or later on in the fall, instead of renting that machine when we have time to play bridges. It wouldn't be,
Makes sense.
it wouldn't be used by Courtright more than us, obviously, but
Yeah.
if we needed it for a week or two when they weren't using it, we'd have the use of it. Now, this would still be pending Courtright's decision too. Their board meeting isn't until next week, I believe. So I guess I'm just looking for approval for that agreement. Everybody agrees.
So if you can get them to throw in the truck that the 11-foot plow hooks to,
Actually, I don't think we want that one. That's from, the plow was actually too big for the truck. That's why they don't
We'll
use
even
it.
throw in a highway worker to be named later.
Because the plow it's used, but slightly used. They haven't, it was too big, like I said, for their application, so they didn't use it. It's just been sitting there. We've gone up and inspected it, and it's a whole lot better than some of the ones that we have on our backup trucks.
I think that sounds almost like a win-win
They
here.
really approve that.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah. Is that
I make a
the
motion.
consensus of the board?
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and let him do it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will have something in writing, like I said, pending their approval also.
No, that sounds good.
If you can get a horse or a couple chickens or something too, you know, just, that's what this deal.
Alright. Any questions for Darren? Alrighty, moving on. Health and youth, anything to report? Economic development and shared services.
Yeah, we met, this, last couple weeks ago. We discussed, obviously, we have the new, liner and so on for the ice skating rink. We discussed still an issue about who's gonna take care of that for us this winter, that's still under, still looking into that. We have heard back from the college at this point, the swapping of land for the future hotel is in Albany right now. They finally worked out the details as far as having equal parcels. So they have that now, and that's up in Albany, and as soon as Albany makes a decision, hopefully we can continue to move forward on that.
So shortly after we're retired.
Shortly after we're retired, bro. I can come back and stay.
Yeah, you can stay there when you come back from Burkensville.
I'm trying to think what else
I've got some information about the flood commission, which is part of shared services, I can share.
Okay.
I don't know if I was the last to know about this, but I just got a, copy of a press release that it's pending or will be coming out soon about money that was received by the county for Steel Brook, stream bank. Yeah, so this would be the first result, or, like the first win from our efforts as a flood commission.
Yeah, that'd be the first project in Delhi.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, it's good, it's,
It was a substantial amount of money. Right now, it's ricocheting in my head, it was somewhere around $400,000, I think, but
it's up to 600
it's
according
up
to
to
this.
600 now?
So that will be, the reason that one's important is because the reason that flooding commonly occurs is not that there's not enough space for water to get through, but because debris blocks the spaces. And so debris was blocking Steel Brook, the bridge over Steel Brook on Main Street when we had our terrible flooding. That debris comes off of the slope on Steel Brook, and so this project will help mitigate that risk. And it should put us in a much better position should we experience heavy rain again, if that ever happens.
No,
Ever get heavy rain again.
we don't get rain around here.
So there's that, and also this will only take 1 minute, but at our shared services meeting, we were recounting some of the achievements that, things that have occurred since we made this effort to have a shared services committee with the village, and it's been a big deal. It's been a very good thing to have shared services. So we quickly rattled off things that we believe that we've achieved, and I'm just gonna read it, it'll take 30 seconds. Improve town-village relationships and community perception of town-village relations. Again, these are things we believe we've achieved. The Flood Commission being formed and now having received this grant for Steel Brook. Construction of the pool, development of Sheldon Park with the ice rink and volleyball, development of hiking trails, the joint housing study, which is about to begin for our area. Annexation for infrastructure expansion, collaboration with other entities like the Legion College and High School, open gym for community during winter months, advocating for new business in Delhi, the joint approach in dealing with the DPW projects, and we also have a mechanic, which is a new position that we'll be sharing with the village.
As a matter of fact, as we sit here right now, there's a village truck sitting behind the town hall waiting its opportunity to get repaired.
Waiting in this long line.
I thought you were waiting to paint it red so we could take it.
We gotta wait a little bit longer until they forget where they left it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to throw in there for our shared services report. Thank you.
All right. Recreation.
Yeah, I would just report that the pool is pretty much completed now. We're working on putting the fencing around it. The propane has been filled, all that's connected. There is water in the pool right now for the winter, and that will be drained in the spring, and the final coating, which we decided not to put on right now due to weather, that'll be finished in the spring. I met with the Delhi Telephone Company in regards to security for the pool. We'll be looking into cameras for the pool as well as recording. This particular system sets up with the village police. They would be notified in the event that there was any problems down there. They would be first responders. That will include the playground area, so hopefully we will not have the drug problem that we've had in the past in the playground area. And damage to our fence. For some reason, people seem to think that they need to tear the fence down around the playground on a regular basis. So hopefully, this new security will help take care of some of that. In meeting with them, they will be working with us. They would like to make some donations in regard to this installation of the security system, as well as giving us a hotspot for Wi-Fi down there. So that would all be a free, given to us on behalf of the phone company in regards to their donation. So I will have obviously all of this, cost of this security and so on is part of the grant program. So it will be coming from the funds that were raised already in order to get this all set up and running. So I'll be getting a full proposal on that from them soon. Our next effort, we do have a pool meeting tomorrow night, right here, so if anybody's interested, would like to attend that meeting, please feel free to come at 7 o'clock. And we are moving forward with the next plans. Once the pool is complete, we'll continue on for a new playground. That will be the next part of phase 2 of this whole program, so stay tuned.
Personnel, anything to report?
I don't have anything to report to you.
We already got the sexual harassment policy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Waiting on that for the
Great.
education training piece.
Building, Billy had some work done there.
Yeah, we had Dave Guile down to take a look at some lighting issues out here in the court parking lot and the entrance to the court. Is it a little better now than it was, Judge?
The parking lot and the door entrance is working fine. I can't say the same for the town entrance here tonight.
Yeah,
We were just talking
we
about
were
that
discussing
before
that
the
earlier tonight.
Yeah.
That one, I suspect we've got a photo cell that's going bad, but given, we're starting to make the move to LEDs here, I think we're gonna go ahead and replace that one with LED also. Speaking of LEDs, I had Dave Guile give us an estimate to make some repairs to the lighting in the clerk's office. And currently what's in there is all fluorescent lighting. We'd like to go ahead and switch that over to LED. And the estimate is about $900. What's the board's feeling on moving forward with that?
Which is it, just for that office,
Yes.
the clerk's office?
One thing Mark and I had talked about is possibly seeing if there's a NYSERDA grant available. We might want to consider going a little deeper than just one office.
See if NYSEG is running other programs too.
I mean, I like the idea of switching to LED, but that was more than I thought it was gonna be. That's my personal feeling.
I think we need to look into some grant possibilities and see if it would make sense to do a bigger project and maybe get some help.
We certainly can do that. I mean, obviously, I think it was about 3 years ago, if not 4, when we did the town highway garage, and we were able to get some reimbursement on that. Okay, we'll go that
Hopefully
route,
still
we'll
working.
report back.
And then the the mics, we'll get those checked out. The students from SUNY Delhi installed the new, this was a system that Kathy Fletcher got through a grant program before she retired. Students put them in, but it sounds like we've got to address some issue with, I don't know what the deal is, why it turns itself off.
Does court generally take longer than 3 minutes?